The Death Star super laser. It is called a laser. It is not a laser. It is in fact a lightsaber. Star Wars is a space opera wrapped in a dystopian coverings of a fascist sci-fi universe. It's certainly no the utopian visage of Star Trek. It combines epic stories with dazzling weapons that defy imagination. And this week we're going to be talking about lightsabers, laser swords. We're going to talk about how they function and other items that are essentially lightsabers. We're going to play What is Cake, but with lightsabers, and based on that same working definition. So we're going to make some people mad this week is what I'm really saying. Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 140. Today's recording date is 1/14, January 14th, and this episode will be released on Monday, January 19th. Hit that like and subscribe and join the Silly Goose Brigade.
Doesn't matter if you've been in the fandom for 10 years or 10 seconds, you're welcome here, and we're happy you are here.
Andrew, we got some community highlights we would love to share from our patron server over on Discord. What do we got cooking up over here?
Dude, literally these guys can cook. Over on our Patreon server, we talk about all sorts of things, and this isn't really a plug. It sort of is if you want to be a part of that community, but our Discord server is awesome. It's the best place on the internet, at least for you and me. And hopefully for the other guys too. We have a ton of fun. And dude, the recipes that get shared, the food pics are primo. Oh my gosh, they're so good. One of our guys, he got a stovetop air fryer that's kind of big. It looks like a toaster oven, but it's actually like a convection oven. And he's like, dude, the bird I can cook in this thing. And then he just would. He's like, I cooked a whole chicken today. And I'm like, you animal. That's so cool. We have so much fun. So many of the guys share just their cooking recipes and talk about all different things. We have a couple guys that are gluten-free in the server, and they always talk about this cool thing about oh, I found this gluten-free recipe or this gluten-free beer that's really good. I actually tried one. There's a gluten-free brewery in Seattle, I want to say called Ghost Fish, and dude, it's good. It's really good.
Gone are the days where gluten-free basically was synonymous with garbage.
Yeah, dude, it's gotten so much better. Because even within our family, we've had to go gluten-free for periods for different medical reasons, and it's not awful.
That is fair. If you guys, I'm going to plug our Patreon account as well. Both of us are burpy today, brother. I'm sorry. Andrew and I also talk about smoking chicken, brisket, and other meat topics over on our Patreon episode, which normally we hide behind the paywall. But Andrew, I think you're thinking about letting this one loose. The goose is loose.
I think this one is going to be loose, at least for a little bit. I might put it back behind a paywall, so don't wait on this one, is really what I'm saying. I wrote a note here, and I kind of want to talk a little bit. So we're going to be talking about lightsaber lore today, but I kind of wanted to talk about how Star Wars in general kind of has a little bit of a lore problem. And
whatever do you mean, brother?
It's the problem is how the community interacts with new Star Wars lore as it drops. And essentially there's this worst. It's not great. It really struggles so that new Star Wars content has to be near perfect for it to be accepted by the community. Which, we want our Star Wars content to be good, right? We don't want bad, mediocre content, right?
But you can't measure that to something that also has nostalgia power behind it. Because old Star Wars is not always good, but it is Star Wars. And
Correct.
People associate that with,
back in my day, Star Wars was perfect. Now there's too many ladies in it.
Come on.
Oh, I hate that so much because women make Star Wars better. It's gross when it's all dudes, right? It's I don't need another thing in my life that is a boys club. I work in a technology field and a lot of dudes, and it doesn't make it better when it's just guys. But the thing I want to talk about, at least with Star Wars, is that there's this weird like balance that like new Star Wars content has to simultaneously be interesting, make sense in the narrative, and also have precedent. Like if something new happens, it has to also have precedent for the community to accept it, if you know what I'm saying. So like when something happens and someone's like, oh, I didn't like they did X, Y, or Z. If you can bring up an example of, oh, well, they did this in Legends, it almost like bulletproofs your argument. And a specific example is when you brought up Darth Sion in last week's episode, because some people did not like that Maul came back to life. You're like, how could this happen? I don't really understand it. And it's like, well, it doesn't even really matter that you didn't like it, because there's actually a precedent in Legends, because Darth Sion got chopped to pieces a bunch of times and he kept coming back to life. He's literally a zombie. Not really, but
he's
really,
pretty,
yes.
He's pretty close to a Sith rage-fueled zombie.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing that I'm talking about, where Star Wars like can really only do something new if it's already happened, which is a little bit of a paradox, right? Like,
because how do you make new things happen when you can only do old things?
Right. And so when new things happen and they don't have a precedent one way or the other, people just hate it. And like, there's a lot of Star Wars fans who are legitimately great, and I truly believe that the majority of the community is awesome. It's just the problem is that terrible Star Wars fans, the misogynist ones, the racist ones, they're so loud.
I think gosh. It's important for folks to remember that those, like, what happens usually is like the good fans will usually just hit the like button. And like the bad fans will leave you a dissertation on why you're wrong and why your opinion sucks.
Yeah, they'll give you 500 words in bad grammar of why you're such an idiot and you should just like, go jump off a cliff because you dared to say that like Kylo Ren's lightsaber is cool. Remember that? That was a thing when like his lightsaber came out. People were like, nope, that's dumb. That's never been done before. So therefore it's dumb and I don't like it. Kylo Ren was one of the only things about the sequel trilogy that I loved, and not just because I have a massive man crush on Adam Driver. All hail our wide boy.
His royal thickness.
Boy, he's wide. And his lightsaber is cool. I like it.
It kind of annoys me because the design for different lightsabers, people love different lightsabers. Like, our best performing shorts are literally us being like, hey, we found a new lightsaber design. Let's talk about it. Hey, there's a new lightsaber color. Let's talk about it. And people are like, yeah, that shit's really cool. And so when something happens that they don't like, or they're like, oh, it's different and I don't like it. I'm like, dude, what could they have possibly, like, if everyone has the same thing over and over again, you would just say, wow, Star Wars really isn't growing. They can't come up with anything new. I'm like, you're just finding something to nitpick with. Like, yeah, if you're saying, hey, episode 7 is completely derivative of episode 4, man, I get that.
Valid
criticism. But if you're like, Kylo Ren's lightsaber is stupid, it should never have been made, I'm like, dude, you're just looking for something to complain about. Because most of the fandom thinks it's cool.
Here's a bigger offender, and an argument that I hate, and I used to make back in the day before I realized that is a sexist, misogynist opinion, and is that Rey is a Mary Sue. Because she has the same power level as Luke Skywalker, but if they made her fight in battle and choreograph her the same way as Luke Skywalker in a film made 40 years later, people would still hate it. So yeah, there's some things that she does that are a little bit more fantastic, but she's not a Mary Sue. She's a Star Wars main character. She has to be that strong. And so that is something that I will say, I have said to people, especially when episode 7 first came out, I was like, I think she's a Mary Sue, and I would like to apologize for that opinion because it's straight up wrong. It's not true. I also held a lot of, I would say, seething hatred for The Force Awakens. I felt it a personal slight.
It's in my bones.
Well, and like I felt it. Yeah. It was like this little nugget of rage that lived inside me about this movie, and I was like an anti-apologist against this movie. Anyone I talked to, I was like, I am going to convince this person that this movie is a stain on Star Wars and that it is terrible. And I would have those conversations, those rage-filled conversations about The Force Awakens. And I don't know when I realized that I was being insane. But at some point I realized I need to not care about this as much. And I think part of it came when I saw a new generation of Star Wars fans love the new movies, and a new generation of Star Wars female fans love Rey. And I saw the love they had for that character, and I was like, I need to back off. I need to relax. I need to be happy that they are happy.
Well, and so I have a couple of things. You brought so many different thoughts to mind. I'll try to organize my thoughts as we go through. So I remember actually, because we watched episode 7 in the theaters together, and I remember coming out of the theater here in Puyallup, and I was like, kind of like that movie. And everyone else kind of looked at me and they were like, dude, that was episode 4 all over again. In my brain, I was like, wait, but I like episode 4.
Sorry, was episode 4 not a good movie?
And I was like, oh, you got, and for a long time, I remember like everyone like tore it down. And I was like, I'm not saying your criticisms aren't valid. This is like almost a shot for shot remake. But I'm like, dude, that movie came out 40 years ago. I'm like, just because it's a remake with a new skin, that's okay. Because again, it came down to like some of the things that you said. There's a new generation of Star Wars fans. You do also have to remember that like we kind of forgot this as people who have grown up with Star Wars, but Star Wars was made to like sell stuff. And they came up with a brand new line of like new stuff that people wanted to buy. And I'm like, you have to remember that like the main point of the story is capitalism. Anyway, I won't go down that road too much. But you brought up a good point about Rey. That is the first Star Wars main character that was not overtly sexualized in her role. Because, what is it? In A New Hope, Leia's not super sexualized. She's literally a princess who's waiting to be rescued. So, not a great role. They sexualized her in Jabba's palace. They're like, hey, how about you wear a copper bikini? And pretty sure Carrie Fisher didn't want to do that all that much. So she took it like champ and made one of my favorite movies ever, not because she's in it. And then we got into episode 1, which you would argue like, okay, there's not like anything crazy other than the really weird relationship between Padme and a child. And
still creeps me out.
And then you get into episode 2, where there's a lot of sexual tension between Padme and Anakin when they're off at their like Naboo retreat or whatever, and all of us were like, I feel weird things about this. And
it's
then
weird.
Then the joke for the longest time was like, oh yeah, my favorite costume is midriff Padme. Like that's
oh my God.
That was just a thing for the longest time, and I'm like, you don't really get that anymore because they dressed Rey like a normal person,
which was the right move. And listening to interviews of Natalie Portman talk about her time on Star Wars and how Star Wars fans harassed her and sexualized her and would give like essay threats to her, it sobers you up pretty damn fast. As a fandom, we do not treat the actors with the respect that they deserve. Another example is Ahmed Best. When he played Jar Jar Binks, the amount of hate that he received for that role was insane. He did not like, dude, he's the actor. Why is everyone so mad at him? And like, he got like death threats for playing a character that is supposed to be a goofy comic relief. And yeah, I bet if he had known that that character was like, people were going to go absolutely ape shit insane and bother him. Like, yeah, he probably wouldn't have taken it, but like he also had the opportunity to be a part of one of the biggest film franchises in history. So yeah, of course he took the role, and his redemption as far as being recast as Kelleran Beck later, I think is the least they could do for him. Like,
Yeah. Well, and Hayden
as-
Christensen, because he was, I think, at the last Star Wars celebration, and he they made not a docuseries, but they made like a short video, essentially, that was like an interview video of his, of kind of like the story that he went through playing. Keep in mind, it's not really the actor's fault, but these guys are like, Star Wars wasn't written that well. Like, I think it's like,
Correct.
Again, people hate on the new movies, and I'm like, guys, episodes 1, 2, and 3 were not written super well. We only like it because it's Star Wars and it's nostalgic. And most of us were kids when it came out. We didn't know that it was bad cinema.
Correct.
Like, episode 2 has more memes in it than like any Star Wars movie combined. It's just a meme vault at this point. Like, we get it. But like Hayden Christensen, I'm a dude, you're working with a bad script and you still turned into a character that so many of us loved, but also a lot of people hated. They were like, he did such a bad job. Like, and he got bullied for a long time.
And they harassed him.
Yeah.
They harassed him for it. And he, for earlier Star Wars celebrations, he really like didn't show his face because he was not well liked. Like, and I think we forgot that as a fandom, that Hayden Christensen was not well liked for a really long time, and we as a fandom treated him very poorly. We treated a lot
100%.
of these characters and these actors, these human people, terribly. And while I never mailed something, it does make me feel personally responsible, because I could have done a better job at some point talking to someone, being like, these are human people. Like, be a little bit more respectful. Like, if you don't like somebody's acting performance, that is not an excuse for you to hate that person IRL, which is unfortunately a message we still need to hear in today's age. Like, don't hate real people because you didn't quite like their role. Like, the prequels especially are some of the most loved Star Wars, and some of that is, again, rose-tinted glasses, because some of the writing doesn't make any sense, and I wish they would have done the Phantom Menace pretty differently.
There were some bits in there that maybe we could redo. Watto didn't need the quite the large nose that he had. That was on the nose, to use a pun there, for alienating certain people groups. Man, the double pun in one, that was, I'm so sorry.
It's a touch anti-Semitic.
More than a touch.
More than a touch.
A ranker's slap of anti-Semitism. And if you didn't get that, that's probably actually a good thing, because the people who did get it, they were like, I see what you did there. And you're like, oh, come on, man. Like, really? But those of you who didn't get it, it's like, I didn't know that was anti-Semitic until somebody told me, because I don't subscribe to those ways of thinking.
Well, and especially as children, the dog whistles are not obvious. Like, we don't hear in that range. And as adults, unfortunately, it's easier to see dog whistles, which is also good because of critical thinking skills. So we've kind of talked a little bit long for only having 6 words in the script that just said Star Wars has a lore problem. And actually, I said Star Wars lore has a problem, and now here we are.
Bro, we both knew how to cook with that. That's fine.
Here's a lead-in. Discuss. Gladly. So if that's cool with all of you, let's just try to be like 10% kinder to our fellow humans this year.
Indeed. I think that's a reasonable expectation for people.
Great! And
Excellent.
Mando is going to be great. Mando is going to be awesome.
Oh my God, I can't wait!
It's going to be so good. And if people are mean to Pedro Pascal, I will be mean to them. No, not the message.
Oh, I'll just straight up hit him with my lightsaber. That's fine. If you think I'm not going to go see that movie with my lightsaber in hand, you're crazy.
Hell yeah, dude.
I always keep that thing near me.
Always keep that thing on me.
I use that quote like 2 times a day.
My lightsaber is still in my truck. I need to take it out.
Brother, don't leave that in your truck. What is wrong with you?
Dude, I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry.
I told somebody at work today, because I parked right next to him, and he just got a new GPU, which, if you don't know, AI is ruining the world. So if you guys have your podcast bingo cards out, Nathan or Andrew mentioned how much AI sucks, and they are driving the prices up on GPUs because it's the only piece of hardware that can run these massively complex black box operations that we love to call AI, even though it hallucinates answers. Anyways, and he has a new GPU box sitting on his front seat. And I'm like, dude, you got to put that away. Like, you can't just keep that on your front seat. And he's like, why are you looking in my car? Like, kind of giving me a hard time for it. And I'm like, dude, somebody who wants that doesn't know that that box is empty, and they just broke your window trying to get that box. Like, now you got a broken window.
Hundreds
at best.
Yeah, for a part that's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Even if a person isn't planning on using it, they could immediately turn around and sell it on eBay. No problem.
The prices on those are going to increase to 100 to 150%.
Unreal. I keep looking over at my computer. I was like, you better not make any weird noises.
I think it was one of the, also, if you guys don't know, Ground News is a sponsor of us. And I do want to bring this up kind of outside of the ad break, because you had sent me, I think, a couple of different articles about how AI is affecting like the GPU prices. And one of the things that I look for first, and I think is a really, really good tool, is how it's being reported. So left, right, or center. Or I guess that's who it's being reported by. And what is the factuality score for these? And it's all high, which is, I'm like, I wish these were lower. Like, and that's such a great tool to have.
They were wrong.
So I will say that's kind of a natural plug. Make sure you guys, if you guys like Ground News, I'm sure Andrew can throw up a link or something in the description for that. I'm making more work for you, brother. Sorry, but it is seriously helpful because it helps me sift through that information faster.
Yeah, and we've been really critical about ads and capitalism in general, and the reason we've partnered with Ground News specifically is because we actually like what they do. That is, you can still be against the current system of cronyism and oligarchy and still like something that's good. And I think that's actually important, because then it gives you like this little ray of hope of like, okay, this is maybe actually worth my time and worth my money. At this point, you will have seen that there's a QR code on your screen. Cause I mean, if we're going to talk about something, we're just going to count this as the ad break. All right. I hope that's cool with everyone. But like, I do rely on Ground News when I hear something in the news. We're not going to talk about it on this episode, but there's a lot of really, really sad, terrible things that have happened this last week. And I have used Ground News to see who is reporting about it factually, because that is so important nowadays. You mentioned AI being awful, which it is. It sucks. It's the worst. The funniest memes I see online is when somebody's like, AI be like, and they ask them a question. At first, they just dump a bottle of water on the ground while maintaining eye contact. They're like, tomatoes are blue or something stupid. And because it hallucinates answers, it steals art, and it plagiarizes. And they're the thirstiest machines.
It creates abuse material now, thanks to Elon Musk and his platform.
Dude, he needs to go straight to jail. He needs to go straight to jail because the content that Grok is doing, they have allowed sexual predators to thrive on their platform, and that is morally reprehensible. Elon Musk needs to be jailed, and his wealth needs to be distributed to the citizens of this country and planet, because he doesn't need to be that rich. He sucks. I hate him. He's an awful human being. I try not to hate anyone because hate does really bad things to you as a person. It's poison. It's poisonous. It's like, but he sucks. Man, he's sucks.
The worst.
I rejoice when he fails, because when he fails, it makes the world a better place.
I swear under my breath a lot when I see Teslas, because like I love the design of some of like an all black like Tesla. I'm like, man, that's such a good looking car, and I'll never drive it because the owner of this company is an absolute jackwagon.
Dude, I got cut off by a Tesla today, and then like 5 minutes later, I saw them pulled over on the side of the highway by a state trooper. I was like, I may not be a fan of a police, but I did say, get him! Because he like aggressively cut me off, was weaving in and out of traffic, and like, I was like, what? I can't do anything. And this loser is out here because like Teslas, because of their electric motor, have an incredible amount of torque. So they can move when they need to. And so this guy was like, oh, I see a gap. I'm going to take it. Like what? Seriously, what had happened was I was second in line for a red light. The first guy in front of me goes like through when it goes green, and then I start to go. My truck right now is set to eco mode, so I'm not fast off the line, and that is when the Tesla cut me off. In the middle of an intersection, he just like he like raced up from the side, didn't even see or like didn't stop, and just like cut in front of me in the middle of an intersection as I'm accelerating towards him.
You have a much nicer car than I do, but I'm hitting that guy. I don't have a nice car, and I'd be like, damn, son, you cut me off, and your rear view HD camera caught it all. That's so weird.
Dude, yeah, I like off the line, I had to like hit my brakes, and I was like, do I honk at him? Do I like flash my lights at him? And I was already in kind of a piss poor mood for some things that I already talked about on our Patreon episode.
Listen to the Patreon episode. You'll know why.
And so I was like, dude, I'm not getting into it with this guy. But I was so thrilled when I saw him pulled over on the side of the road. We were driving by, and I was like, F you, dude. You suck. And like my windows are down because it's 60 degrees in Washington right now.
Yeah. Ugh. What is going on? Oh, wait. Global warming. Climate change. I was walking around at 6:30 yesterday morning in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like, oh man, I'm really sweaty out here today, because I'm like going through my agility drills with my guys, and I'm like, I didn't even have the pretense of having a hoodie on. I was like, I'm gonna take this off before I start moving because I'm gonna be sweating. And people are running around and like they're just like dumping sweat, and I'm like, yeah, because we started the day 6:30 in the morning at 49 degrees. So in the middle of January. It's great.
God, it's so annoying. Dude, literally, my flowers have like started growing again. My grass has started growing. All of the bugs have come back. Like I saw spiders, and I was like, you guys are not supposed to be out yet.
Yeah, dude, I cut my grass last week.
Dude, I have to cut my grass again if it's going to be this warm. I'm like, no, I was done until the spring.
Yeah, I actually have yard waste to get rid of now. Anyways, brother, you have... I think we should get back on topic before we go off for too long, because we both know each other, and anybody who listens to this program for long enough knows that we're like, oh, we're losing them. We're losing them. You had before we get into some lightsaber talk, you had a weekly reminder to read a book. Which book was that?
Well, I just wrote down Hail Libertas.
Hail Reaper.
I finished the Red Rising, the first trilogy, and I'm about halfway through Iron and Gold right now. Guys, Red Rising is so hot right now. Oh my God. It's so good. It is, honest to goodness, it is better than any Warhammer book I've ever read.
I've been reading through Red Rising and the Mistborn saga, and I'm going to have actually a hard time going back to Warhammer because I'm really loving these. And these books are more readily available because they're not owned by Games Workshop.
Yeah, Games Workshop has an iron fist around their Black Library novels, and it is so obnoxious. It makes me hate them. There's actually a lot of things about Games Workshop that I hate, which sucks because I love Warhammer so much. But them as a company kind of suck. One thing we will talk about in our Nerddom news, they did something that's like pretty chill. I'm pretty excited about. But in general, like they are very litigious. They hold their IP with an iron fist, and that's not good for consumers. But 100%. Read a book.
Yeah, I am realizing that I wrote down some of my notes in the wrong episodes. I wrote down that part about Games Workshop, and I'm like, it's not in these episode notes. It's in the other one. Neat.
Where the heck is that?
I even came up with a good pun for it.
Oh, what was your pun?
Well, I'll get there when we get there. I'm still going to use the pun.
Fine. But we should probably talk about lightsabers, right?
Always.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of how a lightsaber works. Since the first publishing of the Visual Dictionary.
He's got it somewhere, folks. I know what he's about to whip out right now. Yeah, there it is. That is a classic.
This is not an original copy, hence the little sticker right here, but the content has stayed the same. I loved these growing up, and it has a original description of how a lightsaber works. And essentially what it does, it is a beam of plasma that is held in place by an electromagnetic field. The power source is the kyber crystal. The emitter makes channels that plasma, and there's a few other parts in there that allows it to hold its shape. With that, the proto saber came before. That was the prototype saber, proto saber, and you had talked a little bit about last week in last week's lore or legends how the proto saber worked. Can you actually refresh us a little bit?
Yeah, so the proto saber works because it's basically the same mechanism all the way through, but they hadn't quite figured out the power supply problem. So the user has to wear a corded power supply either on their back or on their belt, essentially, to feed power to the lightsaber to make it work. Whereas like in the newer versions, the power supply and the kyber crystal are arranged in such a way that they can all fit within the actual lightsaber itself.
Much more compact, much more deadly.
Which honestly is how technology usually works. It starts off big and then gets smaller and smaller and smaller. We see that in our world all the time. Kind of natural that it happened in Star Wars, even though the normal lightsaber came first. But, they backdated some things.
Correct. So there's not really a lot to talk about how a lightsaber works and what it is. It is a plasma sword. A lot of times, even in Star Wars, they will actually call the lightsaber a laser sword. It is not a laser. So a laser or light emitted radiation, that is what a laser is. It is a light that is narrowed down into a single point, and because the waves of the light are in sync with each other, I think that's the right term, that is why it comes out as a coherent beam. So not the same. An electromagnetic field will not affect light. Like, it wouldn't stop. So if it was actually a laser, it would literally just go on forever. I'm pretty sure there's like a couple XKCD comics about exactly that.
It is plasma, not lasers, yes.
Yes. So a lightsaber is not a laser sword. It is a plasma sword, but it's called a laser sword because it looks like a laser sword. You know what I'm saying? And that's why even in universe they call it a laser sword, because the actual function of that technology is not widely known. It's kind of a secret, and for the most part, that knowledge dies off when the Jedi do. There are plenty of different crystals that can power the lightsaber. That's the kyber crystal, and that's going to be an important thing that I bring up later when I really make you guys angry. The crystal itself in Legends, there were different types of kyber crystals, and there was actually multiple crystals per lightsaber. They could do different things. They would give the lightsaber different abilities. If you guys remember playing Knights of the Old Republic, you could add different crystals that gave different bonuses to your lightsaber. It's really cool. Nathan, can you tell us a little bit about specifically red crystals?
So red crystals, it depends on your source material, right? If you are following Legends, red crystal is just a red crystal, because the lightsaber, especially with some of the things we see, is the lightsaber crystal was drawn to the user, and it usually had something to do with a reflection of their personality, which if you were a dark side user, the red crystal was usually polluted by the dark side, or that was the common understanding.
Well, and I think that is the current definition of how the crystals work.
Right, and I don't quite remember how synthetic crystals work. I remember that they were a thing or are a thing, and my brain is feeling really fuzzy on those.
That is the Legends explanation for how red lightsaber crystals came about. So it was said that
so they were synthetic.
Crystals, yes. So it was said that natural kyber crystals only came in the traditional colors blue, green, orange, yellow, and purple. Of course, there was some white, and there was even one black crystal. There's always been a black lightsaber somewhere in Legends. Right now, it is currently the dark saber. But red crystals were said to be synthetic as a part of dark side sorcery, as kind of like a little cherry on top to, evil looking weapon is evil. That's no longer the case. Now the kyber crystals are actually corrupted by the user. Which I also think is just cool. I think that's a cool narrative explanation to how that happens. And some people don't like that, especially with the lightsaber corruption we saw in the Acolyte. People didn't like the Acolyte, so they didn't like the things that happened in the Acolyte. We're not really going to talk about it here.
People also, I was going to say, people also compare that against the story of Darth Vader, and they're like, therefore
Correct.
it couldn't happen. But also, I'm like, not every Sith was as powerful as Darth Vader. We used to have an army of Sith, so it's not that far of a stretch to think that anybody could corrupt a crystal. Darth Vader goes through extra turmoil because he's the main character of the entire story, and him just being able to do it is boring. It's bad storytelling.
Yeah, there was no way Darth Vader was going to easy mode creating his crystal. Like, of course, it was going to be a trial for him because that is what his character demands. His character needs to go through incredibly difficult tasks and continue to overcome them to show how powerful he is. Like, it's just, that is his character. He is like a larger than life character. He has to go through it. Otherwise, that's boring. And I understand that, like, the character from the Acolyte, which I'm so sorry, I don't even remember her name. When she corrupts her crystal, people are like, oh, well, Darth Vader had to go through all this. It's like, dude, that was what was narratively necessary for her to corrupt her crystal. It's just what it is. I feel indifferent. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other about it, but that is the canonical explanation to why we have red crystals. I have a little game for you. What we're going to do...
I love games.
We are going to go back and forth, and we are going to play a game where the first person who cannot name an alternate lightsaber design loses. So I'm going to say a lightsaber design, you're going to say a lightsaber design, and we're going to go back and forth until one of us can't think of any. The single-bladed lightsaber.
The Shoto lightsaber.
Is that the short one?
Yes.
Very cool. The curved handle lightsaber.
The lightsaber umbrella.
Oh, dude, yeah, that one's sick. Did you study?
Nah,
I told
dude,
you not
I'm
to
just a
study.
nerd.
You're just a nerd. Hell yeah, dude. Right
Hell
on.
yeah, dude. What's up?
So we got Shoto umbrella. The double-bladed lightsaber.
Lightsaber whip.
The lightsaber pike.
Is lightsaber pike and lightsaber staff the same design?
Yes, maybe.
All right, so I will go with the double-bladed flip open lightsaber.
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't remember that one. I was like, I got that one in the back pocket. I'm going to say the lightsaber with the side-mounted exhaust ports. Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Okay. Does the wooden lightsaber count as a different design?
Sure.
I'm going to go with the wooden lightsaber.
If you can tell me who you...
it's used by the youngling Wookiee, and his name is...
Gunji.
Gunji, thank you. Oh my goodness, no, I'm so sorry.
And this may be a little pedantic, but I specifically said Kylo Ren's lightsaber because his crossguard is exhaust ports from his damaged crystal, but a regular crossguard lightsaber is technically different.
So are you using that for your next answer?
Yes.
Okay,
cool.
cool.
The normal crossguard lightsaber as we see in Jedi and the High Republic.
I am going to go with the police baton style lightsaber.
Dang it, that's the only one I had left. Okay, so what else do we have? You already did the light whip. The detachable double-bladed lightsaber. Where
Like splits it into two? Okay.
Yeah.
The Inquisitor helicopter lightsaber.
Son of a gun, how did I not remember that one? Dude, I think I'm officially out of gas. I don't have any other lightsaber designs that I can think of.
I've got two more.
You win. Please take this time to dunk on me.
First of all, the Darksaber, you mentioned it earlier. It is a specifically different design. It is unique in its crystal color and shape. You nerd.
You right.
Another one from a similar series, Ezra Bridger's hybrid blaster lightsaber.
Oh, frick, on a stick, dude. Oh my gosh.
That's
so good. That's so good.
Oh, I got him.
Dude,
I'm a better nerd.
You win. I would like to point out
Get wrecked, scrub.
I would like to point out in our Lore and Legends, I am technically ahead by a point, but we are going to give an opportunity for Nathan to tie in this next week's Lore and Legends. So
Hell
don't
yeah, we are.
switch away yet. This is going to be a long episode.
Guys, let us know in the comments if you guys thought of any other lightsabers that we didn't, because those are the only two left that I remember. So if you're screaming at your car radio right now, I can't believe he wouldn't remember this. Yeah, dude, I don't remember. Obviously, because I would have said something.
You got a lot of them.
Yeah, dude,
I was a lot
ready. I love lightsabers. I'm also sure there's probably some designs in Star Wars Visions that I don't remember.
I know, there's definitely some cool ones. I was really hoping you were not going to remember the police baton one, which is used by, who is it? Maris Brood from The Force Unleashed. I was like, there's no way he's going to remember that one. She kind of holds it backwards, and it's got a 90-degree handle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I said it. I know who uses it.
I'm explaining to the people.
That's fair. I didn't remember what her name was.
Well, who's the better nerd now?
Okay, name another lightsaber.
Dude, shut up. You know I can't.
Hey, do we need to hit him with the next activity?
Yeah, we're going to play a little game of is it cake? I mean lightsaber. So,
all right.
We're going to talk about the function of quite a few different weapons in the Star Wars universe, and we're going to essentially argue whether or not they are functionally a lightsaber. Nathan, can you tell us if a blaster is a lightsaber? And why?
No. It doesn't have a crystal power source. It does use plasma, but it's not a stable field.
Right. It's not contained in a field to where it does anything special. It's literally just a fired projectile of plasma. I actually think it does have a core of something, and it's surrounded by plasma. I'm not 100% sure on that one, though. So this next one, I actually think we could argue about a lot because there's not a lot of information on it. Is the Mandalorian Gauntlet Shield a lightsaber?
No.
What? Why do you think one way or the other?
So it obviously it has an emitter, and it has something to stabilize the field in a specific shape. So I think it has a lot of similarities with the lightsaber, that it's a static energy thing. But we also don't have any. We have two. I think there's two pieces that makes it not a lightsaber. One is in form. One is in function. The first one, form. Okay. It does not have a crystal. It's an energy pack. It's powered by the whatever energy source, probably like energy cells, right? Same kind of similar thing to blasters inside the gauntlets, right? Like you can't use it without the gauntlet. So the energy source is in the gauntlet. I'm not looking at the wiki, so I am making a little bit of an assumption there. Next part is function. To my understanding, you can't cut somebody's head off with a Mandalorian gauntlet shield. I don't think that's the type of energy it uses. I don't think we have a precedent for that it causes wounds.
So I actually just pulled up the wiki, and it does say that it is a plasma shield, but I actually agree with you. I think that because this is a shield and we don't see them cut anything with it, we don't know that it can cut something with it, which I guess is part of our working definition of a lightsaber, which is a kyber crystal powered blade of plasma contained in an electromagnetic field that can cut stuff.
Yeah.
That's a decent definition of a lightsaber, actually. That narrows it down quite a bit. And for the same reason that the Mando Gauntlet Shield is not a lightsaber, the Gungan Energy Shield is also not a lightsaber.
Yep, I would have the same rationale for that.
One thing that I think is pretty obviously not a lightsaber, but...
Okay, I was going to have words with you if you were like, yeah, so this next one is actually a hidden lightsaber. I'm like, dude, I'm going to throw something at you through this recording screen.
So the definition for an ion weapon, so this is like the ion cannon we see on Hoth, or the ion bombs used by the Y-Wing, or the ion pulse cannon used by the Malevolence, which is still one of the coolest weapons in Star Wars. We don't talk about it enough. Is that ion weapons are essentially they're charged particles, and that's why they wreak havoc with ship systems in particular. But it's not a lightsaber, right? Not a lightsaber. My thing with the ion cannon is that essentially what a stun blast is an ion cannon?
I think essentially. I'm not entirely sure if the stun, when you say, I see in your notes that you have stun shot in this later.
Yeah.
That you're referring to the blast that incapacitates people, and they're like, set it to stun when we don't need to kill the main character. Yes, I would. I mean, I think it's the same, but I don't know why. But it would make sense because if it's charged particles, you're essentially just like a taser brings somebody down, you're introducing electricity into the body, which incapacitates somebody because you're a meat machine that runs on electricity.
Yeah, my guess would be that the form factor of a blaster cannot focus the charged particles in the same way that a dedicated ion cannon is able to, and that's why the stun rounds have effectively a very short range. They act like a taser shotgun.
Yeah, pretty much.
This kind of got me thinking on this entire episode was turbo lasers and the fact that they are called lasers, but they are not lasers, right? They're not lasers.
No, I don't think the precedent is that they are a beam weapon. Because a laser would be a beam, whereas plasma is technically a projectile. It's in a different state of matter than we understand normal projectiles, but it's still a projectile.
And the only reason the lightsaber it doesn't just fly off is because of the electromagnetic field.
Also, if it was an actual laser, you wouldn't be able to block it with a lightsaber. It would move too quick.
Yeah.
You would turn it on and then be like, "Oh, yep, I just cut Qui-Gon in half again because he can't dodge. He can't react at the speed of light."
I mean, he would be able to know where it's pointed with the Force, because the Force would tell him hey, put your lightsaber here before he presses the button. But it would significantly cut down on the reaction time that Jedis are capable of, because the actual exit velocity of a plasma shot from a blaster is not that fast. It's slower than a bullet. Right? We can just see that. They are not actually that fast. They're still fast enough to be an effective combat weapon. But yeah, an actual true to form laser, I don't think we really see in Star Wars all that much, with really only a few exceptions. I think the B-Wing, the prototype B-Wing from Star Wars Rebels, that is truly a laser.
Can we talk, in a future episode, we might need to talk about how dangerous a weapon that is.
It's incredibly dangerous. Because if the laser doesn't have somewhere to dissipate, it takes a very long time. Okay, here's a myth. Lasers do not just keep going.
You've shot it in a vacuum. What have you done?
But it will dissipate because it will unfocus after a long period of time.
That still feels super dangerous.
It is. It 100% is. For sure.
So at a certain distance, it becomes a shotgun.
That's a weird way of saying it, but yes. Shotgun sort of implies
it has a spread.
Yeah.
Spread them, boys.
Nope, don't.
He made it weird.
He did. Okay, so turbo lasers are not lightsabers, even though they use plasma shots. Same thing. We talked about stun shots. Can you talk a little bit about the disruptor rifle? Do you remember this weapon?
So I never really... So the disruptor rifle disintegrates things.
Correct.
The lightsaber does not disintegrate. It burns, it incinerates, but it does not disintegrate.
Right. It sublimates, but it still burns through stuff. That's why you see Qui-Gon in Episode 1 have a hard time burning through the blast darts, because he still has to melt that material. It's also why in certain Clone Wars episodes they can use their lightsaber by stabbing it into a cliff as they fall, and it technically slows them down. But the disruptor, first off, it's not a lightsaber. It's not even plasma, actually. The best way I can describe it is the disruptor technology, which does show up in canon in Legends in slightly different ways. The canon is actually called an ion disruptor, and the old one is just called a disruptor rifle. You can actually pick one up in Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. It's your sniper rifle. And it disintegrates. Because what it is, it's actually a focused beam of energy. That is so vague. That is so freaking vague. Because the only thing that doesn't is a focused beam of energy, and that doesn't have mass, is light. So it would be a laser, but at least the wiki entries that I read said it's not light. It's just energy, which is, to me, that's definitely not a lightsaber, but it's the closest thing to a laser that we have.
Right.
And the last one...
You have some thoughts on this. I know you're cooking with this by including this last.
The Death Star super laser. It is called a laser. It is not a laser. It is, in fact, a lightsaber.
So in the wiki, on the canon page, it does refer to the Death Star super laser as a laser-based super weapon, which...
And I think they're wrong.
Okay, please tell us why they're wrong. I would love to know your... I think I know why you're getting at this.
Because I think our working definition of a lightsaber fits the Death Star. I will say, originally, I do not think that the Death Star was originally powered by kyber crystals. I did not get to that page revisiting it in the visual dictionary yet. But we know that the canon DS1 battle station is powered by kyber crystals. And the fact that... so it's got kyber. I think it uses an electromagnetic field to gather the different reactor beams together in that single point to fire the sum of those lasers forward. I think that can only happen in the form of an electromagnetic field. I think it gathers all that plasma forward and then shoots it straight forward with one final larger beam. And that is essentially creating a lightsaber because it's controlling the plasma powered by kyber, controlled by an electromagnetic field, and it can cut stuff like Alderaan. I.e. the Death Star's a lightsaber. Dude, and I'm aware that this is a hot dog is a sandwich level of pedantic.
Well, and this is one of those instances where Star Wars writing kind of gets in its own way because in Legends, like I'm skimming through right now and I'm like, dude, there's no mention that I can find on a cursory examination of kyber crystals. But we know in canon that they are like the Death Star is powered by giant ass kyber crystals.
They literally strip mine Ilum to get those crystals.
Yeah. Like that's why it's so many bad things, but it's shaped because you can't shoot lasers together. It's still, here's the thing, they call it a laser weapon, but it's a plasma weapon, right? Because you can't shoot lasers together and have them converge into a new vector and trajectory into one more solid beam. Like to shoot 8 lasers together would just make 8 separate lasers.
Correct.
It doesn't make sense that plasma does that either, but it looks so cool when they're killing Mon Calamari Star Cruisers. Like, come on, guys, come on. It looks awesome. And when it's under the bottom of a Star Destroyer and they're shooting super lasers at people, like there's a picture of Admiral Victor Strang and his super laser equipped Star Destroyer, the Conqueror. Dope picture. So cool.
Star Destroyers equipped with lasers are very cool. And we kind of talked about it earlier. Like people didn't like that the Final Order in Episode 9 had super laser capable Star Destroyers. But like we said, it's allowed because there's a precedent in Legends for exactly that. Literally, Palpatine's Super Star Destroyer, what's it called? I can't remember. Has a Death Star laser on it.
It's not the Executor, it's the other one, right?
It's the other one.
The Eclipse. I can't believe I didn't know
I should have remembered.
dome.
I should have remembered that. My phone is named Eclipse. Like after that ship.
It's the name of the game that we haven't been able to play yet.
Oh my god. Dude, Eclipse is going to be at mythical status by the time it finally releases. If it ever releases. We're in like GTA 5 or 6 territory. I don't even know what GTA we're on, honestly. Which is
Still
probably
on
a
5.
gamer 5. It was probably a gamer cardinal sin. I'm supposed to love it. I just don't care. I can't care about everything. I have limited capacity of caring.
Brother, do we have time for our lore or legends today?
We have to. We already told the people we were going to.
You're right. All right.
And I wrote these, and I love them.
We should dive into those then. How many do you have for me?
I have 3 for you.
You have 3 of them for me. Holy cow. Okay, hit me with your first one.
All right, this week's segment of Lore or Legends, we're going to be doing 3 for Nathan, 2 for me, so we will both be at, 5 questions each by the end of this?
I think so. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think we should both be at 4 because I'm giving you 2, and I've only done 1 so far.
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. This is like my favorite segment. I would be so sad if we didn't do this.
I got this.
So,
and a wise man once said, "I'm gonna crush this."
That was me. To be fair, I'm. What am I? 2-0. 2-0.
Yes.
All right, so we're kind of done talking about lightsabers. So now we're going to talk about a bunch of random topics and see if we can stump each other from multiple fandoms. Nathan, this question, the category is mushrooms. Orcs have to be one of the weirdest Xenos faction from the 40k universe since they are a sentient fungus that can grow in the harshest conditions. Reproducing via fungal spores, these spores attach themselves to trees, which allow the orcs to gestate inside and give birth to the entire orc ecosystem from snotlings, squigs, Gretchen, and then the orcs themselves. These spores can lay dormant for years, and the only effective method of eradication is exterminatus. That's your first one.
Brother, I told you to write shorter questions or shorter items.
I can't do it. As one of the greatest video game adaptations of all time, The Last of Us features a strain of cordyceps that through a random mutation is able to survive in slightly warmer temperature. This increase in survival temp allows cordyceps to cross the threshold of being able to survive inside humans, and when the new strain finds its way into the world's grain supply, humanity quickly crumbles into pieces as these zombies bring Homo sapiens to the edge of extinction.
All right. I'm tracking with you so far.
All right, and the third one, this is from the Star Wars universe, which you know that. Felucia is known for being a key battleground of the Clone Wars due to its myriad of miraculous medicines derived from the local flora. Felucia is incredibly dangerous with its megafauna prowling its surface, as well as many species of flora, like I said, specifically massive fungi growing all along its surface. This planet, while sparsely populated, is featured in multiple Battlefront titles and in Legends as the hiding place of Jedi Master Shakti. Which one is the lie in our little game of two truths and a lie, i.e. lore or legends?
All right, so you've thrown out a bunch of facts, and I think you included true bits in every single one of those.
That is correct, my dude.
I think you're the worst because I think you're testing something so minute that you are hoping that it is like one word that is going to trip me up. So I think
yes.
I think the bit about the orcs is false because you mentioned something about them growing on trees. And I'm like, dude, I have no idea if they grow on trees or not. So for that reason, I'm going to say that the item about orcs from Warhammer 40K is the legends.
Not only are you correct about the lie or the legend being orcs, you exactly nailed it. They grow underground. Nice job, dude.
Let's go.
Oh,
got him. I was like, trees, really? I was like, I'm pretty sure I would have like known something about orc trees. That doesn't sound right. Got him.
You got it.
Got him.
You
folks.
got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Do you want to alternate?
Give me one. Yeah, we should alternate.
All right. I'm going to take off my push to talk so I can read my notes here. Okay, the theme on this one is going to be armor options. Item number 1. In Mass Effect, the human soldier and Krogan Battlemaster are the only classes capable of using heavy armor. Item number 2. The Imperial Kasrkin utilize standard issue flak armor due to its lightweight nature and... I can't read my own notes. And are distinguished from regular guardsmen by their use of the hotshot lasgun. Item number 3. Spartan 117 utilized the Mark IV pattern Mjolnir-powered assault armor featuring radical redesigns by Dr. Halsey over the Mark III design. Those are the 3 items. You see how those are nice and concise, brother?
Dude, I'm really sorry. I will write mine shorter next time. But you. The one that is the legend in this case is the Kasrkins because the Kasrkins have a modified armor and not just the default armor.
Ladies and gentlemen, he got that right. They use the Stormtrooper Carapace armor, not the standard issue flak armor.
That is what I'm talking about.
Man, okay, so we're bouncing back and forth on these ones. Andrew, hit me with another.
All right, this one is about dragons. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, the dragons are not only the first firebenders, but they are also a title of powerful firebenders, human firebenders. To gain this illustrious laurel, the firebenders actually go into the wild and hunt and slay a dragon, thereby taking its life and assuming the mantle of dragon for themselves. Number 2. Join Chaos, we have dragons. In the Grimdark universe, the Helldrake is a massive winged creature used by the arsenals of the Chaos Space Marines to provide air support. Most recently, a Helldrake is featured in Space Marine 2 when a Black Legion branded baddie is slain when a Ultramarines dreadnought throws a stone column and bodies the Helldrake. Last one. In the film adaptation of Aragon, LOL, JK, that was dog shit. We're not doing a clue about that.
Thank you, brother. All the folks still listening, I appreciate that.
All right, so number 3, dragons are canonically the coolest fantasy creature. Even the Mandalorians are seen to use them as mounts. While the Mythosaur does not have wings of its own, it dominates the legends of the Mandalorian clans with notable warriors, riding them into battle like Mandalore the Great. These creatures were thought to be extinct until Bo-Katan Kryze returns to the world of Mandalore and sees the Mythosaur in the living waters.
You have 2 items here that are wrong.
Oh my.
So your first one that's wrong is the Helldrake, because you said it was the Black Legion, not the Thousand Sons.
That is correct, my guy. That is the original wrong answer that I left in there.
That means, so that's my main guess. My second thing that I think is wrong is it Bo-Katan that sees the Mythosaur? I thought it was Din Djarin.
Bo-Katan is there.
She is there. She witnesses it. Okay.
I'm like 75% certain. It's only been like 2 years since I've watched Mandalorian season 3, but I'm pretty sure she's there too. I think that's why she gets a Mandalorian crest on her, or a Mythosaur crest on her armor. Correct?
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that, because I was like, I don't think that was right. But the Black Legion, I was like, no, that's just straight up wrong. It was the Thousand Sons.
To quote a different wise man, get in the comments.
Sweet. All right, Andrew, for your next one, we're going to talk about standard issue weapons.
Oh my God.
Item number 1, and I'm going to try not to mess this up here. The HMWA-X was the standard issue weapon to Alliance soldiers in the Mass Effect series. Item number 2, he looks so confused. The A280 saw action on Hoth and Endor as the Rebel soldier's blaster rifle.
That one's true.
Item number 3. The Godwin Diaz pattern bolter is the weapon designed specifically for the Battle Sisters. Sisters of Battle, excuse me.
Son of a gun. The Godwin pattern bolter sounds familiar. Can you say the first one again? Just the designation of the rifle?
So I'll leave out the X because that's the progression number, right? Because in the Mass Effect series, you could have whatever number at the end basically determines the level of the weapon, which is like an RPG thing. But it's the HMWA.
That's the sniper. That is the. No, the HMWA is not a standard issue weapon. That is one of the Spectre weapons used that you get at the end of the game. I got it. Let's go.
Oh, I'm glad I was muted for that swear.
Woo!
Once you said Spectre pattern, I was like, I'm gonna murder somebody.
Yeah, dude, they cost like 1 million credits a pop or something. Because I was like, no, I'm thinking of like the Black Widow sniper. Like, because
what is the primary assault rifle for Mass Effect then? You probably know it off the top of your head.
I know what it looks like. I don't remember what it's called, though. Is it the Lancer?
That's one of the lower level weapons. It's the M8 Avenger.
The Avenger, thank you. The Lancer is the standard issue for Gears of War. It's probably also a Mass Effect weapon. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I had him on that one.
Whew, that was close. That was close. I almost didn't get it.
The Godwin Diaz pattern bolter is the weapon of the Adeptus Sororitas.
Yeah, I was 50-50 on that one. I was like, that sounds vaguely familiar. I can't speak to it. But once I started talking through the first one, I was like, yeah, all right. I love Mass Effect. Small shout out. I've been watching High Jedi. She's affiliated. She's friends with Ruthless Night Sister. And so I've been kind of branching through their network of friends on Twitch. And she's going through a Mass Effect 2 Legendary playthrough right now. And I'm like, I want to play this again. It's so good.
Someday I will play that entire series and 100% it again. I just don't have time for that right now.
Your final clue is needles.
Dude, pressure's on right now.
All right. Alongside their plasma repertoire, the Covenant also utilizes a weapon coined by the USMC as the Needler. This weapon fires long, sharp crystals that would vaguely home in on their target. Once the crystals had embedded themselves and reached critical mass, it would create a super combine explosion causing massive damage.
All right.
The Eldari of the Grimdark universe, aka the Eldar, use projectile-based weapons that fire a monomolecular bolt at alarming rates called shurikens, and are also utilized by their fire warriors, their reapers, and rangers. Each of these projectiles either looks like a star, a triangle, or a circle.
Okay.
And your third one in the category of needles is Luthen Rael is known for his love of antiquities and also hating the Empire. In a close encounter with a Cantwell-class arrestor cruiser, Rael uses a series of hidden flechette launchers in his heavily modified Fondor Hallcraft to use the tractor effect of the Imperial vessel against itself and shreds it to bits. Upon the destruction of this hardpoint, Luthen outflies and outguns the remaining Imperial escort craft and jumps to light speed and evades capture.
Okay, so I'll go through these in order of what I think are true, false, or lore, legend. Number one, I'm going to say is true. The Covenant Needler homes in after creating multiple of them, getting multiple of them together. They do create a super combine explosion. It is specifically referred to as a super combine explosion in the Halo universe. So I think that's lore. The second one I think is lore is item number 3. I can't find anything wrong with that. On the surface of that, I cannot find anything wrong with it. I was surprised when you went this direction, because for sure when you were like, I'm going to talk about needles, I was like, he is going to give me some obscure-ass Dune reference to the Gom Jabbar, and I am going to lose it.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, I was like, he's going to quiz me on Dune, and I've only read the one book. I'm like, there's no way I get this. I'm going to say the second one about the Eldar is the legends. It is the false item, and I think specifically because you included fire warriors in your use of flechettes. Fire warriors do not use flechette or the shuriken weapons. They use something else that's more akin to like anti-tank weaponry, and that's why I'm saying that is the legends.
You are correct, sir. I actually don't know if that fire warriors fact is correct. If I'm being truthful, I was thumbing through a lot of different wikis, all in a non-logical order, and I think I saw the Fire Warriors referenced there, but it's actually the Ranger who fires, weirdly enough, a needle, what does it say? The Rangers of the Eldar utilize their special long rifles that fire a single needle suspended in a laser beam. So weirdly enough, the thing that is wrong about this one is also needle related. You still get the point.
That's all right. I got the item right, but I didn't get the reason right. But if straight up, I'm like, I don't think the fire dragons use like the traditional shuriken rounds. The Guardians do for sure, and the Dark Reapers absolutely, because that's like their rapid fire technology, similar to their shuriken platforms.
And I was thinking you were going to get this one, because do you remember in the Dawn of War games, if you are running a Ranger squad, that they have a cooldown between shots? I was thinking
they have very pointy weapons. But in my brain, I was like, I don't know if that's a different projectile or if it's still shuriken based. Like I was like, I don't know if it's like the same, but I was like, for sure, I would not classify the Fire Dragon's projectile as the same based on what it's used for. And Dawn of War was going in my head because I was like, they shoot orange blasts at people. There's no way those are shuriken.
Yeah, I might actually be wrong about the Fire Warriors, so that's my apology. I think I meant to write Guardians, perhaps.
So what does that put the total score to? Because I got all three. You got all three.
Yeah, you got all 3. I got 2. So you're at 3-1, and I'm at 4-0.
Damn. I am going to have to bump it up a little bit. And for future, we'll do one each, just so that we don't run into 75 minutes of a podcast that you're going to have to edit. So, I mean, I'm super behind on editing, so like I do appreciate the work you do,
but again, because we're having like free flowing conversations, longer episodes still mean less editing time. It's the scripted episodes that really screw me up because I have to do like 100 cuts per every minute, and that like kills my soul. And these, I'm only doing a cut every like 10 minutes straight up. I basically am just re-listening to the podcast and removing the breaks. That's it.
All right, guys, with that, I think we're going to, or should we go over the Nerddom news items?
Yeah, let's run through it real quick.
Sweet. Okay, I didn't want to lose my pun here. So I'm going to scroll back up to a different page. In Abominable Intelligence news, that's my pun. Games Workshop says that they are banning their staff from using AI because none of them are excited about the technology. A company that relies on telling stories doesn't want a machine slurring out robotic slop onto pages for them? Weird.
Wow, that's so weird.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is like there is a lot of narrative content in the Warhammer universe that's specifically like, hey, AI is bad. So it would be incredibly ironic if Games Workshop is like, yeah, we're like super cool with AI. I'd be like, I'm like, you guys are such douches.
You're all the worst.
Like,
we talked about this entire episode about Star Wars fans being like not so great sometimes. Warhammer fans are like, no girls allowed. Like, actually, people
so
think that.
obnoxious.
Like,
So
if she's not hot running around in a few pieces of paper glued together by wax with a chainsaw, I don't want to see it.
Dude, it is straight up loser mentality sometimes. And like some Warhammer fans honestly are great. There's always great people. It's just the bad ones are so freaking loud.
100%.
And they also get in our comments section. So it's like, I can't.
Thanks for the
them.
engagement, you weirdos.
Yeah, thanks for being weird perverts and commenting on our video. We are going to remove those awful comments. When you guys are mean, I do remove your comments. Like, I don't have time. Like, I don't have time to clap back at you. I'm just going to delete you. I don't care. Screw you. Don't be mean. Let's see. In other nerddom news, we've talked a lot about Arc Raiders recently. The Cold Snap event is over, and the community's kind of waiting to see what's going to come next. There are rumors that they're working on a new map, which makes a lot of sense. And there even is a rumor that's going to be called Volcano Rise. If you guys know the map selection screen, there is a mountain on the topographic representation of the top side. So I think that's where we're probably going to be going. Super excited. Love to see where this game takes us. And they have sold over 14 million copies.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. For context and for reference, it took about the same amount of time for Space Marine 2 to sell 1 million copies. It's not quite the same time reference or time frame, but it's pretty dang close.
All right, and guys, you'll probably see us reposting some stuff about Arc Raiders, about different like loot drops and stuff like that. So make sure you guys follow us over on social media. Huge thanks to our top patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David. If you guys want to support us and you guys like what you're doing, we're giving this podcast out for free, basically. But if you are so inclined, support us over on Patreon. If you can't do that, watch our YouTube videos, interact with them, follow us on social media, like the Galactic Empire. We are everywhere. And until next time, may the Force be with you.